Having the New Wave Women's belt has meant the world to me. We first started tagging together at a Wet Cake Pro show, and it's just kind of snowballed from a really silly, fun match, you know, that now is turned into this really cool thing that we get to do together.
Welcome back to Grapple Theory. Thanks so much for joining us once again. And this week we are joined by the awesome Aluna. Aluna, how are you doing?
Hi, hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. It's great to have you here. It feels like it's been a long time coming to have you here on the podcast, and it's great to have you here now. It feels like it's a good time as well for you because, again, we always start by asking our guests about their last 12 months, and it feels like 2024 was a real breakout year for you. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. No, I think I was very lucky in 2024 to have some of my best and favorite matches so far at various places. And yeah, I've really, really enjoyed wrestling in the last year. I've improved so much, and I've got to wrestle at some amazing places and wrestle with some amazing people. I've been very lucky.
I was going to say, when you're sort of making those strides in the ring, especially where you're like, you can see that improvement, like I was going to say, actually, can you see that improvement, like sort of match by match? Can you see, oh, I'm getting better here? Or is it sort of like a bit of a wave?
Oh no, I can definitely see the improvement from a year ago to now. I try and take sort of a little bit of feedback that somebody's given me away, and I'm able to take it into the next match. So yeah, I've kind of been like just putting little pieces in that people keep saying, oh, you know, maybe you could do this, or, you know, next time try this. And it has made the world of difference. I've definitely noticed that improvement.
Nice. And like you say, you've had like some really cool moments in the ring, like a few debuts at like new places and stuff as well. It's got to be like, again, really nice and really like affirming to know you're sort of like making the strides on that ladder.
Oh, it's lush. Yeah. To be seen by, you know, some of the places that I've worked for in the last year. It's been incredible.
Do you have any like particular highlights for you that were like, that was a moment, that was like a big thing?
I think for me, very recently, I had a match at New Wave, my home promotion, against Emersyn Jayne. And it was a like no holds barred hardcore match. And, you know, we were it was the first time that the women's title had been on the line in the main event. And I got to walk out, you know, in front of my home crowd, holding the title. And that's something that I've always wanted to do. And then to have a hardcore match with Emersyn, who's obviously the queen of that type of match. And then to get, This Is Awesome chant and a standing ovation at the end. That really made kind of everything I'd built up to in New Wave worthwhile, and showed that the crowd, you know, does actually really enjoy what we do. It was fantastic.
I was going to say that was one of the matches I had sort of like highlight to ask about. So I'm glad you mentioned that because, again, like when you have, like you say, like someone against Emersyn who's like a seasoned pro, and there's a hard match. Like, is it sort of like, I imagine, a little both daunting and again affirming, where you're like, oh, I can go in this sort of match with Emersyn Jayne, but also like, oh no, I've got to like go with Emersyn Jayne.
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit of both. I've done previously, I'd only had 2 experiences in sort of weapons matches, and both of them were sort of had a kind of comedy element to it, with sort of more comedy weapons, if you like. Whereas this one was very, very serious, and we'd sort of built the storyline up to this being like the pinnacle match. And, you know, obviously I was going to wrestle Emersyn in her type of match. And I think to be able to do that, you know, with her, she's someone that I've always wanted to work with anyway. So to be able to do that with her, and wrestle her in her type of match, and then have a standing ovation at the end, and obviously her doing all of her crazy spots, and, you know, her doing what she does best in that match, it was really cool.
I was going to say, I really loved that. Like you mentioned, like the sort of juxtaposition in that match is like, it was her match, but it's in your territory.
Yes, that's exactly what
and like that perfect mix, really. And like, it builds that thing of like, oh, is the master of the match going to win it, or is the hometown hero going to win it? And I really enjoyed that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, and like, again, just even that match or otherwise, like coming up against someone like Emersyn is always like, I imagine a learning experience, because she's been around for a while, and she's just so fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was such a fun match to be part of because I haven't done a match like that in terms of the seriousness. So I was very much, you take the lead, it's your match. And she was great in terms of, getting me in a place with the fans where, I think by the end of the match, because I'm here at New Wave, and I think by the end of the match, the fans started to respect me, and they were like, oh, actually she can compete in this kind of match. And there was blood in the match. There was quite a lot of blood in the match, and it was, both of us by the end of it were absolutely battered. And I think the fans realized that, oh, okay, there's a women's main event. They absolutely went to war with each other, and to see them all on their feet at the end was, a very special moment.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that's exactly the sort of match again that it can turn a heel, can't it? Like depending on what you want, if you're not careful or if that's the way you want it, you know what I mean? It can really turn a heel into a face because you just oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Exactly like you said. Again, you've got to be careful with it, but I think you guys played it off brilliantly.
Thank you. No, it was a really cool moment. That's definitely a match that I'll remember for a very long time.
Yeah, I was going to say, again, we talk about New Wave. I mean, for yourself as well, first ever New Wave Women's Champion.
Yeah.
Again, like you say, New Wave is somewhere that has really been putting in the hard graft recently, as not just a training school, but a promotion as well. And for you to get that first Women's Championship, that must have meant a lot to you, because I know how much New Wave.
Absolutely. It meant the world. To do it in, one of the bigger venues, and obviously we weren't at the church when we did that show, but to do it in one of the bigger venues, we had a really big crowd, and to win it in a Rumble as well, and with so many other amazing women in the ring, it was definitely cool. It was unexpected in terms of the fans seeing it, because I was a bit sneaky and I sort of hid for a bit. And, I think they forgot about me. And then Lucia and Danny had a really cool moment in the ring. And then me being a bit of a cow, I went in and, ruined their night, and I ended up winning. But yeah, having the New Wave Women's belt has meant the world to me. And the fact that I get to walk out, every single show as the champion, and kind of show that New Wave is my home is, it's so cool.
Yeah. And again, big up to you, because I really feel not that you had to prove anything, but I feel like you really proved yourself with that belt. I feel like you really, like you say, sort of stepped up. You've had those great matches, and again, I think it really shines a light on the great work that both yourself and New Wave have done over the last sort of couple of years.
Oh, definitely. I've been so fortunate whilst holding the belt that I've been able to wrestle, Danny Luna, Medusa Complex, Kanji, Rain, Lucia and I have wrestled as well. So many women. The list is actually endless of how many incredible women have wrestled, whilst holding the belt. And we've put on some really, really wonderful matches, and we've made the women's division at New Wave what it is now. And that's so exciting for us. The New Wave division at New Wave is growing rapidly, and it's so exciting to see.
I was going to say New Wave was, in my mind at least, one of my sort of contenders for promotion of the year last year. The awards that we do. I thought you'd had such a great year down there. I think the Welsh Southwest scene basically has just been so on fire the last couple of years. It's been ridiculous. You see the talent that comes out of there, the talent that goes there as well for shows, because those shows are getting bigger and they look like people to come in. It's great to see, because I think for so long, the Welsh scene, I always equate it to actually I equated it to Friends, but I think it's the first time I probably said it in recording, but I always saw the Welsh scene as sort of the Australia of the UK, whereby it was sort of out the way and no one really paid attention to it, and it was a little underground, and then all of a sudden it's just sort of burst through, and everyone's hang on, because you had loads of people come out of it, like your Mark Andrews, your Boars and your Broncos, but it felt like the talent came out of it, but no one was going there for it. And now it seems like the talent's still there, but people are now going to Wales and the Southwest for wrestling rather than the talent coming to them.
Yeah, we're so lucky at New Wave. We get so many incredible wrestlers coming to our shows to work with us, but also fans are now traveling to New Wave. I was at a show in London last weekend. I literally had a bunch of fans say to me like, oh, you know, I really need to get to a New Wave show. You know, they look incredible. I've seen so many amazing things online. And, you know, these are fans from like the other side of the country, and they're wanting to come to Wales to watch wrestling shows. The talent on the Welsh scene and the Southwest scene is incredible. And I'm so glad that, you know, so many people are now being recognised, you know, and so many new talent that's being recognised for, you know, putting on these incredible matches, and they're breaking out in other areas of the country. And yeah, it's really cool to see like the Welsh scene for wrestling is on fire at the minute. It's fantastic.
I was going to say, like, can you look again, almost like when I said, like, can you see it in yourself, the improvement? Can you look at like the scene objectively, and like you look around that, like the locker rooms you have there, and the likes of, again, like your veterans, like your Boars and your Eddie Dennis's and your Mark Andrews, but also like the Nico Angelos and the Jay Joshua's and comers, like your Leon Cages. Like, can you like look around that locker room? Do you go look around that locker room and just be like, holy shit, like look at all this talent?
Yeah. So I'm in a very fortunate position where, because I'm not from Wales and I don't live in Wales, but I train in Wales, and most of the shows that I do are in Wales. I'm in a very cool position where I kind of get to be part of it, but also I get to see it from an outside perspective as well. And my kind of first experience of wrestling wasn't WWE or any of like the big televised stuff. My first experience of wrestling was watching indie shows in like my local community centres and, you know, local venues. And the people that I saw were, you know, Nico Angelo and Boar and Jay Joshua and Bronco and Mark Andrews, you know, all the people that I now get to be trained by and wrestle with, you know, be in the same locker room with. And to me, that's just the coolest thing ever. Like, I'm surrounded by my wrestling heroes every single day, and that's the coolest thing.
Yeah, that's amazing. And again, like you mentioned earlier, like, again, I think it's a match that I know meant a lot to you, because when we had Lucia Lee on the show, she mentioned that I know that meant a lot to her as well. When you face, like you said, Medusa Complex, like, that's got to be, again, a pretty like, oh shit moment. Like,
oh, it was wicked. It was so cool. I remember watching them in the Frog and Fiddle for Attack. And I was like, okay, yeah, these girls are really cool. And I used to go to like, you know, Fight Club and Hangar and watch them. And then, you know, fast forward years later and you get to be in the same ring with them and like sharing the same match and being backstage with them. And yeah, that for me is the part of wrestling that I really, really love and I really cherish. Is you get to hang out with some of the coolest people that, you know, I first started watching, and now I'm very lucky to call them my friends. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And again, we've got to talk more about Lou Wave, because again, it is now Lou Wave. It used to be at Lou.
Yes.
Had Lucia on the show, it was at Lou, and she was like, we're probably going to change that at some point.
You wanted their neighbour.
Not too much copyright infringement.
No.
So just let him have it back, which is fair.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, in terms of like that coming together for you two, like, again, stuff like the Medusa Complex match must be a bit wild, because like that wasn't long into you tagging together. That was like, what, a few matches in?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I appreciate Lucia's probably said this as well, but we first started tagging together at a Wet Cake Pro show, which is run by Sacrifice. And it seemed quite a random pairing at the time. We didn't really think much of it. And we did a tag match together. And for those who don't know, Wet Cake is a completely bonkers wrestling show, and everybody dresses up, and it's great fun. And we kind of thought, well, who are we going to be? And Lucia actually said, okay, well, why don't we be Act 2 and they be us? Because we were on the same show. And that kind of went a bit bonkers online. And that's where the Act 2 came from. And everyone said that we kind of looked better in each other's gear than, you know, each other did. And we had a real laugh with it. It was really fun. And then a couple of other places started booking us together as a team. Res Pro booked us as a team. And then New Wave booked us as a team. And now EVE booked us as a team. And it's just kind of snowballed from a really silly, fun match, you know, that now is turned into this really cool thing that we get to do together. I was
going to say, like, because I don't think I asked Lucia this, but like, was there was no intention
No.
that it was going to be any more than just one fun tag match at Wet Cake.
That's right. Yeah, there was never any intention to tag together. It's not something we'd ever thought about doing. Lucia and I met each other years ago. We wrestled at Black Country Championship Wrestling. We had a singles match and we kind of met each other then for the first time. And we'd obviously been on shows together previously and we'd wrestled each other again previously. But the idea of being a tag team didn't ever really cross our minds. It wasn't ever something that, we ever thought would happen. And then, we got put together as a tag team. Seemingly very random. And then it's just kind of stuck. And then that's how New Waves came about as well.
It's really weird, isn't it, like in wrestling, how that butterfly effect can happen?
Yeah.
Like how something that just comes out of the blue that you don't even think anything of for a second, just have this like monumental trajectory on your career.
Yeah, and it's been the coolest thing. Like both of us have always wanted to work for EVE. And the fact we now get to do it together is, it's really, really lush.
Yeah. Who decided on Hot to Go as your theme music?
So that was actually Lucia. So it was quite last minute. We didn't have a theme tune until pretty much like 10 minutes before we were about to go out. We hadn't decided on one. And because previously we'd sort of been coming out with each other's, we hadn't really had like a tag kind of entrance song. And yet Lucia just thought of it literally straight away. She said, this is in the charts, so everybody knows this song. This is great. And it has gone down an absolute treat. And it's wonderful. The crowd sings and they all dance with us. And the entrance is a really lovely moment.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, Chaperone's smashing it at the minute.
Yeah.
I mean, she is great. It's a great song. So, yeah, it's like, again, it's like infectious. Like, yes. And then once you hear it, it's in your head, like year one, so like all night.
Yeah.
It's a good pick. But again, I just love that butterfly effect of like, again, just not even a second thought, like, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, hang on, this could be a thing.
Yeah, like pretty much everything we've done as a tag team has been quite unintentional, but actually it's just worked really well. Was there like the chat after Wet Cake of like, maybe we should be a team, and then people booked you? Or was it like another booking came in and you were like, oh, we kind of have to do this? No, it was I think promoters being cleverer than we were and going, these two look really good together, or these two work really well together. Let's do this. It wasn't us at all. And, I think that's what's really nice about it, is that it's been so organic. And it's just worked. And I love working with Lucia. Like we've had a couple of matches. We've got crazy in-ring chemistry, which is why I think we worked so well as a tag team as well. Is she better as a partner or as an opponent? She's an incredible opponent, but I would much rather have her on my team. That's the right answer. Yeah, that's the right answer. You're not mad at you? No. Definitely not. No. She is bitch. I was gonna say move it. She, like, you could see she was bitch. I mean, like, again, I think it's the first time I'd actually got to see you as a team in person, like at EVE at the Multiverse Rumble, when you guys went up against Harley and Lucy Sky. Yeah. And like, yeah, I mean, you both brought it, but she was like proper squared up to Lucy Sky. I was like, oh, yeah. You don't get her inside. Exactly. I had to watch the where you made your debut. I had to miss that, unfortunately. So I was ill. So like, I went to my Rumble and I was like, hang on, like, yeah, like you say, you guys just have crazy chemistry. But the way you were both squared up to Harley and Lucy, I was like, fucking hell. Like, yeah. But again, a huge match. You're the win in that match. Like, again, at the time of recording, we're building up to EVE's next show. But like, you're entitled to a title match now, I assume, right? Like, we've got to have a title match at some point. Somebody make it happen, please. I mean, like, Dan knows what he's doing, but you guys clearly you've earned a title match, beat the reigning champs, like in a again hard hitting match. It was a little brutal. Yeah. But again, totally earned it. And again, like you say, that must have been like, I think, again, speaking to Lucia about it, is like, there are certain, I think that, again, especially in the UK, there are always going to be certain promotions, right, that you want to wrestle for. And especially as a female wrestler, like EVE is always going to be up there, right? And like, so to get that call, like, or email or however it was conveyed, like, that must have been really cool. That must have been a really cool moment. Oh, it was. It was wonderful. And, so the fact we get to do it together is really cool. And I remember doing the first show, and then Lucia and I had a WhatsApp notification from Dan, and it said Lu Wave bookings. And we were messaging on Instagram like, bookings? Like, this is a thing?
Rural? Oh my God.
It was so exciting. And yeah, we're both very, very grateful to be part of it. And yeah, you know, we would really love that title match now, please.
Yeah, I was going to say add a bit of gold because again, I don't want to bring up on a sound note, but you recently just lost a bit of gold, didn't you? SWW.
I did.
To LA Taylor, who again is like absolute wrecker of a wrestler. Like,
oh, absolutely, yeah. I've known LA Taylor. Well, LA was the first female wrestler that I ever stepped in the ring with. Previously, I'd only wrestled guys. My background is sort of intergender wrestling. So to step in the ring with LA for the first time was amazing. And that was many years ago. So we've wrestled quite a few times since. I think it's something mad, like, maybe 8 or 9 times. But I have never won against her. She is the woman that I cannot beat.
I mean, to be fair, and I can't quote this as fact, but has anyone ever won against LA Taylor? Like, she's just a machine.
She's just a machine.
She's called the Demolition Woman for a reason.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care what cage matches. I don't care. No one has ever won a match. You might be victorious in a match. You've never won. You never win. No. Yeah, she's great. She's fantastic. Again, like to have her as again someone who you face. Like, I didn't know she was your first ever female opponent. That's crazy. But to have that again, like almost that like story with someone, even if it's in different promotions, where you face each other a bunch and like you can have that as your own personal story where you're like, I need that win. I need to get that win.
Yeah, definitely. And again, LA and I have wonderful chemistry in the ring, and that's kind of, there is that little story going, you know, even if the fans don't know it watching, you know, we know, and that's, yeah, it's really nice.
Are you gonna call her out to challenge you for the New Wave title?
I would love that.
Done.
I would love that.
And Benny, again, home turf for you. Let's like properly amp it up.
Oh, that would be lovely. I mean, I'm hoping that I get to wrestle as Brendan for the New Wave Women's. That would be cool too.
I was gonna say now that Brendan's debuted in EVE, right? Like, I was gonna say last year in the Multiverse Rumble, it was Doris debuting in EVE as well. I think it might have been Lily McKenzie, but we won't tell anyone. And then this year, Flash Morgan Webster and Brendan White debut in EVE as well. It's crazy. That's nothing if not progressive.
Exactly.
Bringing all these male competitors into the ring here. This is.
Yeah.
I mean, talk to me about that as well. Like, first of all, whose idea was that?
Mm-hmm. Well, so Lucia and I were messaging about, you know, what characters we should be or who we should be. And she said, I've decided I'm going to be Flash. And I was like, okay, well, with Lu Wave, like, should I be Brendan? And she was like, yeah, I think you should be, you know, like one of the other New Wave coaches. And I thought realistically, like, who would be, you know, the funniest? Yeah, and Brendan and I have known each other for many years. He's like basically my big brother. Like, I absolutely adore him. And the fact that I got to kind of go out as him, and he didn't know why either, because I had his entrance jacket on. But I asked him to borrow his entrance jacket, and he was like, oh yeah, like, why? And I was like, if I told you that, I'd have to kill you. Just bear with me and you'll find out. And obviously, you know, we did the match and everything, and he just messaged me. He's like, you are unreal. And I was like, yeah, you're welcome.
I was gonna ask what he said to you, because I again, like when you came out, I was doing like the live updates thing that I do on social, and I posted that. And I got a message from Brendan while the show was still going on. He just said, what the fuck?
It was such good fun. You know, I had my own trunks made that said workhorse on the back. You know, I got a bold cap that I ended up putting on Amira's head.
Why it looks so real?
Oh, I know, right? I, you know, got to wear his entrance jacket. It was a good laugh. And obviously, yeah, the fact that Lucia was Flash as well. We were able to be our coaches for the night. It was great fun.
I was gonna say it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Like, again, like in something like that, I think those are the ones that really like come off the best. Where you're like, oh my god, like especially like for the fans who again, like watch like a lot of any whoever it is, they can be like, holy shit.
Yes. We were a little bit worried that, like, you know, who in the crowd would get it, because we appreciate that, you know, not all wrestling fans follow like the UK indie scene. But we knew there would be some fans in the crowd that would get it. And we thought, you know, let's give it a go. And yeah, it did come off very well.
Absolutely. Is this going to be like another activity? Are we going to get another gear swap?
We would love that. Yeah. Somebody made that happen.
Like you and Elias. I would love to see Bronco and Flash in your guys' gear.
Can we have that match? Can somebody do that match, please? Me and Lucia versus Bronco and Flash, please.
New Wave Wales, New Wave Midlands, don't care which one. Someone make that happen. Like, you know that's what the people want. The people have never wanted anything more than to see Brendan White in Aluna's gear.
Yes.
It'd be disappointing if this doesn't happen now.
Oh, I want it to happen so.
Yeah, this is going to happen. End of 25. By the end of the year, that's going to have happened.
Yes.
Because
manifesting. Come on.
I think it happened. Do you think that counts? If Brendan and Flash dress as you, are they allowed in EVE?
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, is that allowed? Dan, if you're watching, let us know. But if that's allowed, then it's a whole new world.
Yeah.
Go for the tag belts together. That'd be great. You guys facing off for the E tag.
Yes.
I feel bad. I feel like I've just let down Lucy and Harley by insinuating they're going to lose the belts to you guys, but you're here, so I can't deny it.
No. Let's make that match happen. That would be so cool.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a lovely time to get into our first little feature that we've got here on the show. Again, we've spoken a lot about all the great about the Welsh scene, about like the British wrestling scene. But now you're going to talk some not so nice stuff about the scene, because this is a feature we've got called Dishing the Dirt. Give you some scenarios, and I want you to let me know which wrestler that you've shared a locker room with you think best applies to each one.
Okay.
So the first one is who's always running late?
Who is always running late? So Chris Bronson. I adore Chris Bronson. He, bless him, works till quite late in the evenings. So whenever he comes to New Wave shows, he's like running through the crowd, like with his hood up, making sure that no one sees him. And he will, without fail, be at a show like 10 minutes before doors, easily. He is absolutely always going to be the last one in the locker room.
For a reason. It's not just
a very respectable reason.
Okay, that's all right. It's just lateness for the sake of lateness. Okay, that's more forgivable, I think. That's more forgivable. Yeah. The next one is I always say this is the best one, I think, to equate to like carpools and stuff, but who has the worst music taste?
I remember, and this isn't necessarily the worst music taste, but this is probably one of my favorite like wrestling memories, is getting in a car with Chuck Mambo and Hakuna Matata was playing. Now, I'm a Disney gal. I love Disney songs, so I was very happy. But I didn't expect that song to be playing, and it was hilarious.
That feels like a very Mambo thing.
Yeah.
That feels
I didn't expect anything less, really, but I was so happy. So it's not necessarily the worst music taste, but it's one of my favorite wrestling memories is getting in the car with him. And the Lion King just blasting out. It was wonderful.
I mean, again, now that I know this, in more fantasy booking, any sort of Halloween show this year, TK and Mambo, they've got to be Timon and Pumbaa, right?
Oh, that would be incredible.
That'd be great. Batman and Robin last year. I think this would be better. This would be better.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That's what we need. That's what we need to do. The next one is like either for their match or like after when you're leaving. Who takes the longest to get ready?
So actually, this is probably a combo. So either me or my boyfriend Jay Joshua. Both of us are horrific. So we'll like. Both of us just take such a long time, and my parents come to most of my shows, and normally like we'll be in a car with them and they will be waiting such a long time for us. Like we are so bad for it. So I will hold my hands up there and I'll go, yeah, probably me or Jay.
I hope they've got a meter for you, like if you're running late to like.
But like normally the plan is that we buy them food on the way home.
That seems fair.
Yeah.
So I've got to ask then. So like you and Jay, your parents in the car, where are you stopping for food after a show?
Oh, so normally if we're like, so it's normally somewhere like KFC. That's normally a go-to. KFC or Burger King is a good shout.
Yeah. That's. I mean, it's what's open, isn't it? I imagine.
Well, that's the thing. There's so many services that just aren't open at like, 11.
That's what you think they should be.
I know.
But I was gonna say it's interesting because like again like your parents are sort of like, especially like your dad, like from what I know from other fans, are getting like almost as popular as you. Because I know fans who like travel everywhere for shows.
Yeah.
They'll be like, I'll be at a show and you'll be on it, and like there's someone will be like, oh, that's Aluna's dad up there. I'll be like, how do you know that? What?
Honestly, right. So you will have no idea how happy my dad will be to hear that, because my mum comes to as many shows as she can, but my dad comes to literally every single show. Like he's been to my European bookings with me. He just absolutely, he loves it. He adores wrestling and he adores everybody in it. And, he'll sit very quietly in the corner. And like everybody just comes up to him and shakes his hand and they're like, hi, Dave, and he just loves it. He absolutely loves it.
You can tell.
Yeah, he's always got his New Wave hoodie on. He's always repping the brand. And yeah, he just, the fact that he comes to every single show and he just watches, it's nice for me because he gets to see how like I progress and he gets to see how like my friends and everything progress as well. And it's really nice that he's there just being super supportive and just loving watching wrestling and being part of it.
I was going to say, did he love wrestling before you started wrestling, or was it you started wrestling and all of a sudden he was like, hang on?
So he didn't kind of start watching wrestling until I started. And when I first started training, I didn't tell either of my parents that I was learning to wrestle because it wasn't a thing in our house at all. Like I haven't got any older siblings, so I didn't like get to watch it with them or anything. So wrestling was a very new concept in my house. And I started going to wrestling training and I didn't tell them because I thought they'd laugh at me. And my dad found my knee pads in my kit bag. And he was like, what are you doing? Like rollerblading or something? And I was like, well, no, actually it's wrestling. And he just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And ever since then, he's been like, he would come to shows with me to watch, and then he'd come to shows, that I've been on. And I think there's probably only been maybe 2 shows, 3 max, that he hasn't been to, because either I've, turned up to crew and I've been called up onto the roster. There's not been many times when he's not been there, and it's nice for me to always have him in the crowd. I always look out for him, and after the match, I always kind of give him a little sign just to make sure he knows that I'm okay. And it's a really lovely thing. I get so many people coming up to me being like, "Oh, you're so lucky that your parents come and watch you." I'm very grateful and very lucky for that.
That's insane. I love that. You got to be careful though. Soon the bubble hitting too hard, then we're going to get every show, not just the ones you're on it.
Yeah, every single one. I think if I don't have a show at a weekend, like he gets really sad, the fact that there's no wrestling and he doesn't get to go to a wrestling show. And then like the next weekend he's buzzing again because he knows he gets to go to wrestling.
Yeah.
He's like, come on, let's go.
That's amazing. I love that. Do you have socials or anything? Can people follow him anywhere?
No, so he doesn't really have any socials. But if anyone ever sees him at a show, please go and say hello because he loves it.
I love that. That's incredible. That's amazing. That's so heartwarming as well. Yeah. That's really lovely. That is beautiful. Yeah. Oh well, this is a good one considering what we've just talked about, because this is my favorite question of the list. It's this is a really important one as well. You've got to really think about this one.
Okay.
Who would you, under no circumstances, let a family member date?
Who would I not let family member date?
But for all intents and purposes here, we're saying that everyone on both sides, wrestlers and family, everyone's single in this scenario.
Okay. Who would I not let them date? I think that's a really hard one because actually, I don't think I know anybody that is an awful person or anything like that. I think everyone in wrestling is so nice, or has certainly been so nice to me.
Yeah, I don't feel necessarily an awful person, but just maybe one that would make you feel weird, or one that where you're so close to them that it'd be weird if someone did, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think in that case, then, because like I said, Brendan is literally like my big brother. So I think if anything ever happened where Brendan started dating a member of my family, that would be really weird. Because I've known him for such a long time. And yeah, he really is someone that I confide in, you know, in terms of wrestling for so many things. And he's been there through pretty much my whole wrestling journey. So yeah, I think it would have to be Brendan.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. At least on the off chance, the very rare possibility that does happen. Yeah. Well, you've got the disguise already to stage the fake break.
There you go. That's it. That's it. I didn't think about that.
Perfect. Works out. It works out. It's still good. Yeah. The next one is outside the ring. Who has the worst dress sense?
The worst dress sense. Who has the worst dress sense? I mean, there's some questionable dress senses in wrestling. Someone rocked up the other day. Oh, you'll kill me for saying this, but Smashing Mike rocked up the other day in like a fully velour pink tracksuit. It was incredible. It was like an absolute spectacle. Not something that, you know, I would wear, but fair play to Smashing Mike. He pulled it off. I don't think anybody else could pull it off.
I was going to say, I feel like pink tracksuit is the Jordan Saeed look now, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't know who did it first. But Smashing Mike did rock up to a wrestling show in a very, very bright pink tracksuit, which he did pull off, in fairness. But for worst dress sense, I will say Smashing Mike.
Was that Ignite by any chance?
It was Ignite.
Ignite, you got to be having words with Mike. You can't be showing up like that.
I know.
Outrageous. Well, the next one's on the nice side, and I think you're the perfect person to ask me to, because we've already established that you like playing dress up in the ring, because we've already seen you as Bronco. We've already seen you as Benjamin Harlan. So in terms of that, you got a show on. You get to the show, and you've forgotten your gear.
Okay.
Right? You need to go to someone and borrow their gear, but we're talking one size fits all.
Okay.
Anyone you want. Whose gear do you look at and you're like, I could definitely pull that off?
I think my favorite gear, just because she always looks so beautiful, and if I could look anywhere near as stunning as her, I would be so happy. Nina Samuels. Like, I would absolutely, she's one of my favorite people in wrestling. I absolutely adore her. And if I could wear her gear one day, that would be, so happy. I would be so happy.
I mean, first of all, I've got to say, honestly, I think you're doing yourself a disservice by saying if you could look as good as that. Because you look great in here. Like, you look great. Is the answer we get more than anyone.
Yes.
Because, I mean, it's just a vibe, that look, because you got the glitter, you got the like sequins, you got the tiny hat.
Yes.
It's all just very over the top and incredible.
It is. Yeah. She just, you know, she just has it. She just looks beautiful all the time. So it would have to be Nina Samuels.
And then if you get that, you'd have all the belts as well, like she does.
Well, there you go. All the gold to go. Yeah, the BS has got to come with the gold.
I mean, that's got to be part of it now, doesn't it? That's basically part of it. Every show, it's like 25 belts. You're like,
yeah.
You might as well just get them like stitched on to the gear at
A
this.
suitcase full of belts.
Exactly.
Like what we need.
Oh, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Like an in-ring segment where you open the suitcase, you're just emptying them all. Yeah. Like one of those cartoon things where like the box just doesn't empty. It's just
Yes.
That'd be good. That would be good. The next one is the next one I always have down is who would throw the best party. That seems inaccurate. It's more like who would throw the party that Aluna would want to go to.
Oh, well, so I don't drink. I've never drank. So for me, like a party with no alcohol would be amazing. Like I appreciate, obviously, lots of people drink. I have no problem with people drinking. But I think for me, a party that had like all the mocktails in the world would be so cool. I don't actually know who else doesn't drink in wrestling. There's probably quite a few people. But whoever that would be, whoever could throw Aluna a party that has like all the mocktails, that would be wonderful.
Someone make you feel blown. Someone come on.
Yeah, let me know.
Brilliant. And the last one, the dating one is my favorite one. This one I think is the most important one though. It's the final question on the list. I'm going to say you can't say Lucia because you're already tag partners. So I think it'd be unfair. But who would you choose to be your partner in the zombie apocalypse?
Oh, okay, hands down. My partner would be Jane Watson from New Wave. That woman is an absolute beast. She would protect me.
Yeah, I think, like you say, you want, like, again, someone who can, like, almost do, like, just do the work for you. Just be like,
Yeah.
be like, you go.
I'd give it my best shot. But no, she would absolutely yeet all the zombies. And she's one of my closest friends in wrestling, so it would have to be Jane Watson.
Nice. For a minute, I regretted saying you couldn't say Jay, because I thought you might say Jay as well, because, like...
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think girl power would win here.
That's the match. Again, we need that match now, don't we?
Absolutely.
You've just brought that match right there.
So I absolutely love wrestler Jay. Like, we wrestled a few times. And you know, he's someone obviously that I would wrestle all the time. I absolutely adore having matches with him. But Jane is someone that we haven't actually wrestled in singles yet. So again, please somebody book that match, because you know, she'd protect me in a zombie apocalypse, but you know, I'd also want to beat her.
No.
I'd want to beat her, so
Love it. I love it. Well, that brings an end to that feature and into our next one quite nicely, because again, we've dished the dirt about your fellow wrestlers. Now we're gonna learn about you, because this segment's called Anatomy of a Pro Wrestler. It's basically what makes you you. So again, I'm gonna list you out some questions and you let me know what comes to mind.
okay.
So the first one goes back to what we were saying actually about the car journeys. Is what is your favorite post-pinfall pig out? Again, we're talking scenario where everything's open. Like, you have everything at your disposal. You can take your pick. What would you go for?
Okay, so my favorite food is Wingstop. I absolutely love Wingstop so much. And my kind of the one I go to the most is the one in Cardiff, because Jay lives. But we're actually getting one in the town where I live in like summer, I think, like summer or autumn. So the fact that we're getting one, I am going to live there. Like, I'm just never going to leave. And that's dangerous.
I was going to say, that's the danger, isn't it? Whenever, I know the feeling, whenever something new opens like near you that you're like really into, you're like, oh no.
Yeah. So I think my post-show pick out would have to be Wingstop.
Nice. What do you go for as like the sauce or like covering or glaze or?
So I used to be garlic parm through and through, but now I've recently started going for the Louisiana tender ways. I'm not a massive wings girl. Always the tenders, and like the fries with the cheesy dip. Oh.
You go to Wingstop for not for the wings.
No.
Chris, that's okay with me, because again, I was going to get some hate for that. I thought I was going to get some hate for this, but I don't think the Wingstop wings are that good.
I'm just not. I wouldn't. It sounds silly ordering, like going to Wingstop and not ordering wings, I know, but I'm just not. I'm not overly fussed on wings. Whereas tenders, give me all the tenders.
Yeah, no, I agree. You also get a bit more Christmas with tenders as well. They have all the little jagged edges and stuff. Like, yeah, no, I'd be with you. I like wings, but I would always choose tenders over wings. Give the choice. No, I'm glad we agree on that. Yeah, the next one. They're not all food based. It feels like it's been very food heavy recently.
Oh, no.
I was going to say, could you make it a food podcast? I basically should just make this a food podcast.
Yes.
That'd be it. Just all food. Great hour. All food talk. That'd be it.
All the food.
It'd be like, do you know that comic one was called Off the Menu? The
yes. Yeah, with Jay Zacaster.
It'd be like that, but just with wrestlers.
Yes. Yeah. Oh.
That's the next plan. That's the next one. They're not all food based. Just the first two in this are food based. The next one is the classic, like, what would your death row last meal be?
My death row last meal, what would that be? I think if I was going to have like a different answer to Wingstop, it would probably be my mum's homemade veggie chili. I'm not a veggie, but I just like veggie chili. I think it would be that veggie chili with probably potato wedges and some garlic bread. Yeah, that's
a lot of carb right there.
Yeah, all the carbs.
Are we talking chili with the rice though, and the wedges and the bread?
Oh yeah, chili and rice.
Easy, love it. I think that's a good way to go out. I like that. I approve. The next one is what is the song that gets you the most hyped?
The song that gets me the most hyped, I think, is probably my kind of current babyface walkout music, which is the Rain Paris version of Light Switch. I just love it. It's such a catchy song. Loads of people always say to me, like, "Oh, your song's really catchy," and I think if I hear that song, like if it's, if it plays in my car or, I hear it on the radio or something, instantly I'm like, oh, wrestling. Like I just get, it's the song that I relate wrestling to.
That's a damn wolf one to have in the car. Like, oh shit,
So yeah, I think it'd be that one.
Nice, I like it. The next one is what is the movie that you show the locker room?
Oh, so I'm really, like Jay will tell you, I'm really bad with films. Like he'll say to me all the time, like, "Oh, have you seen this film? We've seen this film." And my answer will 99% of the time be no, because I haven't really seen a huge amount of films. However, my favourite film, without fail, is Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging.
Oh, that's a throwback.
Yeah, that is my favourite film. I can quote that film backwards. So that would be the film that I would show the locker room.
Like, that's the first time anyone has said that. But
Hey, there we go.
that is, I'm not gonna. It's a good film. It's like a cult classic film almost. Yeah. No, I like it. The next one's a bit of a throwback because it's your first job.
Oh, my first job. So my first job was working in a supermarket cafe. And I used to like be a pot washer and like sort all the cutlery out and stuff. So that was my first job. And then, I left that and then got the job that I have now. So we had 2 jobs, but yeah, my first job.
That's a very big leap again. Like when we were talking off camera about what you have now, that's a very big.
Yeah, that was like a kind of school leavers job. So I did really enjoy. I did it for a couple of years, and then I went into the job that I have now, which was it's good fun.
I was gonna say, what we talking like 16, 18 for that job, like?
Yes. So it would have been probably 16, 17, I'd say.
Nice. I think that's like a good first job, isn't it? That's like a standard first job. Like.
Yeah, I think it's pretty standard. Maybe some good money at the weekends and stuff, and it was a good job. I remember kind of that being the first time where I obviously had like my first interview and everything, and I felt like a proper adult.
You do, don't you? That first interview, you're like, oh, hello, this is, and then it only gets more adult from there, and you're like, oh, no. All challenges start coming in. Like, I am not prepared for this. The next one is what is your favorite animal?
What's my favorite animal? So I'm definitely a dog gal. All the dogs. Give me all the puppers. I do really like giraffes. I think giraffes are really beautiful animals. But for the sake of, cuddles and being able to just give them cuddles, it would have to be a dog.
Is it kind or like?
So Jay's got 2 staffies, and they are just the most beautiful dogs. And they give the most amazing cuddles. They're good boys.
That's all you need, isn't it? That's all you need. Just like a nice little dog is all you want sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like it. The next one gets a little deep because it's your greatest fear.
My greatest fear. So I am absolutely petrified of snakes. It's probably quite a common phobia. But I genuinely am terrified of snakes. It's just a phobia I've always had. Not a fan.
I get that. I'm that way with spiders. Snakes I still don't love, but spiders are the ones for me where I'm like, no.
Oh, no.
Like, send my partner into the room, she can deal with it. I'm like, no. She's like, it's that big. I'm like, I don't care. Doesn't matter. No, I get it. That's good. Yeah, that's fair. I think, again, like you say, it's like it's a common one for a reason, right? Like,
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, they're a bit creepy. Right. The next one is your favorite place in the world.
My favorite place in the world is a tiny little village in Cornwall called St Agnes, and it's somewhere I've always been on family holidays ever since I was tiny, and it just holds a very special place. I've got some lovely family memories there, and it's somewhere that we go on holiday pretty much every year as a family. We've sort of all the cousins and everything, we've all sort of grown up together there, and it's it is definitely a special place for me.
Nice, I love that. Cornwall's beautiful. Like, any like town, village right on the coast down there is like, you're like, damn, this is...
It's gorgeous.
Where is this in the rest of the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, and the final one is your dream holiday destination.
Oh, well, so I'm very, very excited and very lucky that I'm going to Vegas for Mania. And I'm purely going as a fan. And I am so excited. Vegas is somewhere that I've always wanted to go. I've never kind of had, like, I don't really need a reason to go there, but the fact that Mania is there is kind of my reason to go. And I'm so excited. Very, very lucky that I get to go. It's literally cost me my life savings, but we're going to go and have a great time.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's like, again, a Mania is, I think, something that again, like, is like a bucket list thing for a wrestling fan, right? You got to do it once in your life, at least. Like, I think it's, and like Vegas, party city, right? Like,
It's great.
I was going to say, like, I haven't done Mania yet, but I'm like, if I do let Mania, it'll be Vegas, it'll be New Orleans.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's, I think, like, I wouldn't want to do in New York, so New York's too busy, but like.
Yes. So I went to New York, New Jersey, and that was very, very busy. And I went to Philly last year. That was wonderful because, again, Philly wasn't necessarily somewhere that I'd sort of planned to go, but the fact that Mania was there, I was like, it's great, let's go here. And then, yeah, Vegas this year. So very, very excited for that.
Nice. Yeah. That'll be a good one. But, and again, like, the thing is, though, like, again, for anyone watching us who might need it, are you going to bring your gear just in case a call comes?
Oh, you don't know. You never know, right? The saying is always bring your gear. So
yeah, Progress are running out there, right? Like, Progress had a last minute drop out. They're like, hang on. I saw on the Grapple Theory podcast, Luna's out.
Always bring your gear. Those are the rules.
Love it. Well, that brings an end to that feature, nearly to the end of our recording. I've got one final question for you, Aluna. It's not a question that I've left, though, because we have a feature on this podcast where our last guest leaves a question for our next guest without any context of who they're going to be leaving it for.
That's cool.
So this person didn't know they were going to be leaving you a question.
Okay.
And like, you're not allowed to know who left you the question.
Oh, okay.
So let me find it in my... There it is. Oh, this is a nice one. I feel I might have already touched on it as well, because I feel like I know what you're going to say to this. But it's, if you could be any animal for a day, what would it be and why?
Oh, if I could be any animal for a day, that's a lovely question. I think, actually, I would be something that swims, like some sort of fish or something that's underwater. Like, I've always had like a really big fascination with like the ocean. I remember like watching all the David Attenborough programs and stuff when I was younger. So I think something like, I'd probably say something like an octopus. Like, they're so intelligent, they're really cool creatures, and they get to see what the ocean's like. So yeah, I'd probably say an octopus.
That's a great shout. Octopus are like crazy, like the most crazy animal we have on this planet. Like, what even are they?
Yes. They can change color. They can, they're really clever.
Oh, the ones that terrify me, have you seen the ones where like you put like one in a jar, like
in the jar, and they'll get I have. That is cool. That's like that's so cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's that's a crazy cool choice. I like that. That's a good one. Well, that brings an end to the show. And Luna, thank you so much for joining us this week. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for having me. No, I've had a great laugh. Thank you.
Of course. No, it means a lot. That means a lot. Thank you. I mean, like, it's been great to have you here. And again, like, just congrats on everything you've had going on, like, the last sort of, like, couple of years. I think, like, it's great to see how far you've come, like, in the ring and out of it. And, like, what you're doing now is fantastic.
Oh, that means the world, honestly, to have that noticed, because we all work hard. We all work so hard. And we all love wrestling so much. So to have that noticed, it means the world. Thank you so much.
No, of course, keep at it. I can't wait to see what the year has in store for you. That brings us to, again, sort of my final question of the podcast before we get into our sort of like outro. But what does the next year have in store for you? If we were having this chat this time next year, and I'd said, has it been a good 12 months for Aluna? What would that look like for you in your eyes?
I think for me, it is just to keep wrestling as much as I can. you know, we all want to wrestle. Obviously, that's why we do this. We love it so much. So to be able to wrestle, you know, every weekend is I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. So if I can keep doing that, and you know, having that nice balance of family time and seeing friends, as well as wrestling, that would be perfect. So yeah, just to keep wrestling as much as I can and have a really nice kind of wrestling and life balance, that would be amazing.
Love it. I love it. And that does bring us to our closing segment, because we always give our guests the final word. So Aluna, for you, for anyone who's watching this and sees you on a show near them, either as part of Blue Wave or as on your own as a solo competitor, if anyone goes to New Wave or to Southwest or to anywhere else in the country, anywhere else in the world, and sees Aluna on a show near them, why is Aluna going to steal the show?
Anybody that knows me knows how much I love wrestling and how passionate I am about wrestling. And I think that, especially now in the year that I've had, is really shining through in the work that I do in the ring. So I'd like to say thank you so much to anybody who's come to a show that I've been on. You know, the fact that you're watching us really does mean the world, and your support means the world. So thank you. It means that we can carry on doing what we love every single weekend. And also, if anyone sees my dad like sat in the crowd, say hi, because you'll love it.